The committee responsible for investigating cases of sexual harassment at the University of Ghana says it has widened the scope of its probe into the current Sex for Grades scandal to cover all lecturers. Last night, chairperson of the Anti-Sexual Harassment Committee of the University of Ghana called on all students who may have fallen victim to any case of sexual harassment to file an official complaint. She also says the evidence provided in the BBC documentary is enough to conclude that the 2 lecturers of the university who were implicated breached the school's anti-sexual harassment policy. She was speaking on PM Express on the Joy News channel, hosted by Evans Mensah.
Says that I go to the class and I feel intimidated. Fortunately for us, especially at the undergraduate level, you have courses that are split into about 2 or 3. So you move from lecturer A to lecturer B, which is a possibility. In cases where the student has said that I was making A's until this man started making advances, suddenly I'm making a C, your script, the entire script is taken out of his hand, given to somebody else to grade. And so they are protected. Because, you know, when the person knows that the spotlight is on me for all the negative reasons, they tend to be more cautious. But if you have not reported them, then they go on doing what they want to do. And you are the victim and you continue being victimized.
Did this particular, it was advertised as Sex for Grades.
Yeah.
You've watched it. Did you see Sex for Grades in there?
Well, I think many people have commented on that. But nonetheless, I mean, the simple answer is no, at least not as it involves Ghana. But it doesn't mean that this is not a serious issue to investigate, because our policy has been breached in the sense that all the definitions of sexual harassment and misconduct, if you are misconducting yourself in a way that is, I mean, it was inappropriate for you to be seeking all the things that we saw in the video. And so the policy itself is breached. And then we also have the code of conduct, okay, or code of ethics of members, senior members of the university, that is also breached. It is, I think, based on those that the university decided to interdict and then to let investigations go on and be sure that we actually investigate something out of this. You cannot take a decisive decision on somebody when you haven't heard them. And so we want to hear them. The documentary is like the first point at which we receive something to work with. The next thing is to invite people who think that they have been victimized in times past or they are currently being victimized to come forward. So
so that's an interesting point. I saw in this and I was asking, what do you mean? What you're saying is that you're going to ask people who may have encountered these 2 lecturers before or have similar
others, or any others,
to come forward.
Come forward. Come forward. Because we really want a congenial atmosphere where learning can take place, where teaching can take place without intimidation, without anybody feeling that they are violated, you know. And so how best to do it than to invite people who have suffered anything from anybody's hands to come forward for us to take up the matter.
You're clearly going beyond the BBC documentary here.
Oh, but we have been working before the BBC documentary. So
I mean, in probing these 2 lecturers, you're going beyond what the BBC has shown.
Oh, certainly if there's anything to investigate, why not?
So what you're saying is that if there's anybody out there who believes, because BBC claims that they targeted the 2 lecturers because of reports that they got.
Exactly. So we want to confirm those reports.
Okay. So if there's anybody out there who spoke to the BBC and said these 2 lecturers had done, come forward. Is that what you're saying?
Or who did not even speak to the BBC but went through the same kind of situation and has evidence to prove that this happened, because we don't want any witch hunting to take place. But come forward if you have evidence to show that during your 4 years stay at the University of Ghana, this thing happened to you, and this is the evidence.